everybody, I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So man, I guess you guys already see who I got back on the channel. I had a previous episode with him where I basically interviewed an ex-correctional officer in the federal prison system. He's got a good story, and this is going to be part 2 to that first interview, man. So what's up, man?
What's going on, Josh? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Yep.
So we were kind of you were talking about what it was like to be a guard in the federal prison system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did you see in there as far as, like, relationships, like, between family or loved ones or, like, you know, a guy writing a girl? Like, what kind of stuff, like, did you see with that?
Well, I've seen all kinds of crazy things, as much as women coming from England to visit inmates that we've had, that they met through pen pals and things like that. I've also seen, unfortunately, I've seen fights in the visiting room because the girlfriend and the wife show up at the same day. Not good. And I've had to get in the middle of a couple fights there, you know, and separate the two parties and terminate the visit. So that happens sometimes. I guess guys get confused on the calendar or whatever, who's supposed to be there what day. From there, also we had guys that used to, they would turn in the same letter, but just change the name. But it was the same body, the same form. They would just change the name. One was to Susan, one was to Marie, one was to Tammy.
And it was all the same letter to...
It was the same letter, exactly, because I read all the mail.
That's crazy.
Same letter, and I used to tell the dude, I said, if you fuck up, I'm going to switch Tammy's letter with Susan. You know what I mean? I'm going to get, you know, I used to tell him that. He was like, don't do that, Farlow, don't do that, please. And I was like, don't fuck up, man. So I saw that, everything. I mean,
well, in Florida, we have like notorious booty bandits that go down, you know, in Florida. I got some episodes on that too to check out.
Yeah.
So like, what did you see as far as like, was there any rape? Did you see anything with like guys and guys which cause violence and shit like that? Because that's what seems to happen in Florida. Well,
I've seen, of course, I mean, you have certain people that, I think the traditional movie like Oz where they show guys actually raping, that does happen, but it's very, in my opinion, it was very rare. The most part, two inmates would get together that were gay, and they would ask to live together, and they would get moved into the same cell, and they lived together as a couple. As long as I didn't see any sexual contact or anybody else see that, then we would split them up, of course, because of PREA. But if two guys want to cell up together and they're not, you know, displaying any of that, that does happen. That does happen.
Did you see a lot of violence when that shit was going on because of that?
One time I did. There was an inmate brought in that was a transgender inmate, and she had breasts, and it caused a pretty... She disrupted the compound pretty bad, to the point where the warden had her moved because guys were fighting over her.
That's crazy.
Guys were fighting over her. She had breasts and all that.
I'm so glad to be out of that place, bro.
Well, I mean, hey, you know. But let me tell you something. I have seen in there, as far as transgender inmates, they wield some power now.
That's what I was just going to say.
They
man.
do.
So,
yeah.
What in Florida, bro, it's like... There's booty bandits, but then, you know, there's other people that, like, don't like that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And then, but they forget that same booty bandit is a dude. So when it gets to that, I mean, they fight like a dude. And
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
And a lot of dudes ends up getting their ass whooped.
Sure.
That's the last thing you want to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because then you're known as the guy that...
It's like fighting a girl.
That guy.
If you win, you're supposed to win. If you get your ass kicked, you got your ass kicked by a girl.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you get no points for that.
No. And I have seen guys that I knew were living with another inmate, and it was almost clear that they were in some kind of a relationship. But then I would see the guy go to visiting, and he'd have a wife and stuff. So that kind of, you know, that's crazy. That's not a majority, but I mean, a rare occasion you do see that. So
did you see them like get caught, like how it all went down when they finally like found out?
You mean what? Like that there was a relationship?
Yeah.
Well, if we suspect any relationship because of the PREA law, we separate them. Now there was a time I was doing checks at night. I'm going through the tier, and I see, because lights are out, and I see in this one cell it looks like a disco bulb, like a disco thing.
Oh my God.
And I walk over and I see one inmate wearing BBDs, but they were made into a G-string, and he's dancing like it's a strip show, and they put these tapes on the light to make it look like it was disco. And I went, boo, 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 and I got them out. I'm like, there's no sex in the champagne room, not while I'm here. No. So I pulled him out. That was one time. He was like putting on a strip show in there. So that was one story. This is
why you don't go to prison, right?
No.
You're hearing it first from him.
Yeah, stay out.
I ain't seen no shit like that.
Yeah.
Did you retire from being a correctional officer? Or like, are you still a correctional officer?
No, I'm medically retired. What happened to me, it wasn't some big glorious story or anything, a heroic story. As you know, the prison is a very dirty environment. It's, there's all kinds of diseases and germs, and it's very uncleanly. And you were talking, I think, about the mops and how they're reused and stuff. Well, we would have outbreaks of staph infection, measles, chicken pox, Legionnaire's disease.
Mercer.
We would have these outbreaks, chicken pox bad, all this stuff. And, of course, we come to work. Just like now there's a COVID, you come to work, right? What happened to me was I ended up developing an eye infection. They thought it was pink eye when I went, because my eyes got completely shut like I was a fighter. My eyes were just completely shut. I couldn't see. I go to the doctor. They say it's pink eye. They give me some pills. Next thing you know, I'm bleeding out of my eyes like a friggin' Exorcist movie. So I go to the emergency room.
Good Lord.
I know, right? I'm thinking, oh my God. They test the stuff and they say,
were you able to see? Or
no, my eyes were shut. They were completely shut, like I'd been beat up, right? And they were leaking blood. So I went into the emergency room. They test everything. You got staph infection in your eye. Oh wow! So
out of all the places you could catch staph.
Yeah. Well, I was probably opening the door, went like that. Shit that we do. And they gave me medicine, they gave me antibiotics, they treated me for it. It went away, or so I thought. But what happened was 2 months later, about a week prior to this, but about 2 months later, leading up to this, I developed a lot of back pains, and I didn't know what they were. I went in the emergency room, they x-rayed me. There's nothing, Mr. Farlow, we don't see anything. Then one morning I woke up, my legs, I was paralyzed, and I pissed my pants. And my girlfriend called 911, and from that point, they rushed me into emergency surgery. I remember...
What was the prison doing when all this was going on? Were you still working at that time?
Well, yeah, I left work one day, and the next day I was paralyzed the next morning. So, of course...
Did they provide you, like, any health care with all this shit?
Yeah. I had insurance. Well, I have insurance through my military service, and I also had insurance through the prison. Private insurance. So I was good, with that. But it came down to it. What happened was the infection manifested in my spine, and it created an infection, and the infection pushed into my spinal cord and dripped pus, which gave me permanent nerve damage and paralyzed me. I was told, as I was getting wheeled into emergency surgery, I would never walk again. I would never have use of my legs from the waist down, no feeling, and that they were concerned now with saving me from the waist up. And I told the doctor, I said, do me a favor and kill me, because I don't want to wake up. I told him right there, I screamed it on the table as they're wheeling me in. The lady that does the anesthesia goes, how much do you weigh? I said, give me as much as you'd give an elephant. Matter of fact, make that twice as much. And I was screaming and begging to tell him to kill me.
You were like in serious pain.
I wanted to die though. I did not want to live like that. No, from the pain, but at that point when I went paralyzed, there wasn't any pain. There was no pain. There was no feeling.
I got you. But thinking about it.
Thinking about that this is going to be my life, I said, no way, I'm not living like this.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I feel like I would be like the same way at that
Yeah,
time.
I did. I told them to kill me in the operating room. And then they put me asleep, and then I woke up, and here I was.
That's obviously like the first thought you had.
Sure.
Obviously.
It was thoughts after too.
How long did it take you to get through like the depression and everything that came with thinking like that? Like, I can't walk, fuck this.
One morning, I remember looking up at the sky, looking up at the ceiling, and I remember kind of like that moment where, I don't know if you know that story where Jacob wrestles God. There's a biblical story where Jacob is so mad he wrestles God, he fights God, you know? And that's what I had. I had a moment like that with him. Like, I'm like, you took my sister, you took my brother, now you took my legs, my wife left me, took all my money, what was left of it. Like, what the fuck else you gonna do to me, motherfucker? You know, I'm like, what else you want to do?
So
you know?
Just said fuck it and started trying to get back.
You know, here I am. I can't move my legs, but I'm having a wrestling match with the Lord. And it's not a religious thing, it's a spiritual thing. And basically, I came to the conclusion the next morning that I either gotta live my best life of what I have now or go ahead and end my life. And because my brother committed suicide, who was an opioid addict, my mother told me, if you commit suicide, you kill me. So my blood is on your hands. So I can't go that route now, right?
Yeah.
So I gotta live. And from that point forward, that's when I started to say, I know these experts say I'm never going to walk again, but see, God didn't give me wisdom when I was born. Wisdom enough to believe an expert, because I don't believe an expert. I said, no, I will fucking walk again. I will do it. And that's when I started my journey.
Mindset change.
That's it right there. I was born again, man.
Well, what did they do? What were they doing for treatment as far as like, for when you were going through the pain and you know, recuperating and recovery and shit? Like, what do you do when you get to that? How do you get out of that?
They make you a junkie because they figure you're going to be paralyzed. So who cares if you're hooked on Oxycontin and all this other shit they give people, just toxic poison. So they would give me pain pills like it was, you know, Tic Tacs. They don't care because they have no liability now. I'm paralyzed. They can give me whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they tried to do. I told, after 3 months, I told them I'm not taking it anymore. And that's when I started having the tremendous pain from this that brought me, it was crippling. And then from that point is where a very close personal friend of mine introduced me to cannabis, which I was not, I was a 45-year-old man that was a drug detection police canine handler in the military, was a military policeman, arrested people for drugs, was anti-drugs, Nancy Reagan, right? Say no to drugs. Drugs are better than, hugs are better than drugs. All that shit, right?
Yeah, all that hoopla.
Yeah, about marijuana is a bad plant. It's not. It's all a lie. Read the history. Read the history of it. And I said to myself, you know what? My friend introduced me to it, and from that point forward, it completely opened my mind, allowed my healing to begin, and then it started healing my body. And that's what gave me the inspiration and the motivation and the pain relief to start rehabilitating. Yeah. And then still nothing was working. And then after 5 months of being completely paralyzed, peeing in a tube, pooping myself with diapers, it's pretty fucking humbling, okay? And after that, then all of a sudden to my little left toe wiggling and me bursting into tears with my fiance going, we were just looking and we're crying because my left toe just started moving just a little bit. And it was like, it was a miracle. And from there, things just started getting back to life in me, man. Cannabis saved my life.
Your life, man, could be kind of like made into a movie, really. For
who's going to play me?
You are.
Me? Oh, man.
Yeah, bro.
Shit. I don't know. I don't know. You think I can get away with it? You think I could play myself good?
I think you could do it, yeah.
Thanks. So
what is your plan now? You're obviously not working in a prison.
No more prisons for me. No more law enforcement for me. I'm medically retired. I'm in the process of trying to get my podcast up. I want to talk about cannabis. I want to eliminate the stigma.
So everybody watching right now, if they want to, check out your podcast, how do they find that?
Well, I went on that day when I tried cannabis. I transitioned. You know that the new word transition. I transitioned from Rob Farlow to the Stone Sailor.
You're hearing it first.
The Stone Sailor. That's me now. Okay, because I was a sailor first, always being a Navy SEAL. Sailor first. You understand? So I now became the Stone Sailor. And I'm going to make sure I want to remove the stigma for cannabis. I want to expose the bullshit lies that the government's been saying about this plant for over 100 years now. It's all bullshit. It's all lies. Okay? Do your research. I promise you. Cannabis helps people wean off of drugs. It weaned me off of pain pills. It weaned me off of the alcohol. I was down on a bottle of Tito's a day.
So you pretty much tried everything before you went straight to the cannabis.
Well, everything legal, because to me, when my friend came and said, I think this will help you, and gave it to me in my home, I was like, I'm not taking that. Those are bad, you know? Like,
yeah, you were like anti-drug.
Yeah, but then when he lit it up and started smoking, and he's looking at me and he's going, and I'm paralyzed, and he's going, what the fuck else you got to lose? What is it?
Well,
and
when you put it like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you were pretty much... This was the last straw.
That was it. And this is what turned it around for me. And then I went into the CBD products with the, I go into with the ratio with the cannabis and the CBD mixed into the same cartridge. So you get all the pain relief as well as the euphoric feeling, and everything works together because THC ignites the CBD. All right. So I went to cannabis college. Okay. So, you know, and from that, I want to start my podcast, but I also want to talk about current events and politics because everything's related to politics today. And I'm trying to just educate people about the, you know, if you want to eliminate racism, eliminate the political parties in the United States of America, and you'll eliminate racism. Because when you sit down with people and people talk, one thing we all unite under is cannabis. You can get black people, white people, Asian people, and cannabis unites people. Go to YouTube and type in The Stone Sailor. And please subscribe and share. All right? And I'm going to talk about everything. My journey, the miracle of my life. You know, my father was a convicted murderer when I was a kid. They took him to the penitentiary. My stepdad was a major drug trafficker. I had cousins that were thrown in prison for drug dealing. I grew up in that environment, but I wanted something better for myself. I saw them going this way, and as I got older, I was like, I screwed up a little bit here and there, stupid stuff, and then I said, no, I won't be like that. I got to go the other way. And then I went in the Navy, and my life's been a miracle ever since.
Yeah, bro. Well, props to you for doing that, because it would have been real easy for you to just, you know, keep doing the negative shit.
Of course.
Who knows, man? You could have ended up in prison one day as the inmate, and you ended up in there as a correctional officer.
Well, hey, people used to tell me when they knew my dad was in prison, you're going to end up in prison one day, Farlow. Well, I did. They were right about that. But I ended up as a corrections officer in prison. But they were right. I did end up in prison, yes.
Well, listen, man, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. If you guys haven't, go check out his YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to subscribe to DOC TV 813. And with that, we're out.